Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's okay. Today, we're going to be covering what I think is probably one of the latest guides out. It's a really comprehensive guide, and basically there's three guides, in which I'll explain that sort of shortly. But today, we're going to be looking at importing from China with the special edition for the Amazon FBA. So I'm Paul Adams from the Gorillaz tribe. So let's get stuck straight in. So this guide is brought to you by Freightos. Freightos is a shipping company. Freightos, and what they've done is they've asked a number of specialists in their field to contribute to this particular guide. Or the guides that they've put together for us. You can get access to this. What I'll be doing is I should be emailing out and dropping the link into the Facebook group, so you can have a look at that. And it's basically you just download it. It's free. There's no obligation whatsoever, and it's a really, really useful guide. Now, I warn you now, I'm going to be using sort of PDF reader. And you can see here is 136 pages long. I will not be going through all 136 pages, but what I'd like to do is just cover on a few of the ones that I've picked out for us. So let's have a look down to see what we've got in the table of contents. And this is broken down nicely into a number of different sections. So the first part is about product. And we'll go through it and have a look at who has contributed to each of these different sections in a minute. But the first part of the product I'm going to be looking at is I'm not going to go into product research because I've covered product research so many times from an FBA point of view. I think we all know what we're looking for when we're doing some research. And there'll be no surprise there that the person that actually contributed that was Greg Mercer from our wonderful Jungle Scout partners. Excuse me. But the next section I want to look at is, well, the first section I want to look at is safety standards and labeling. I'm not going to spend too much time on each of these sections because they are detailed, but I should skim through them and stop off on the expert tips on each of these sections that I've highlighted. So safety standards and labeling, we're going to be having a look at that. The next area we're going to be looking at is importing and customers' responsibility. That's us, or customs, sorry, responsibilities. And that's us as something that we need to be aware of as we increase our volume, start to get products on vessels in containers. We certainly need to be aware of what's going on. And it is our responsibility when we're importing products into the States. Customs duty, I'll just quickly have a quick look at that. I'm not going to spend too much time on there. OEM, ODM, I'm not going to cover that. So the next section is sourcing. Sourcing channels and attending trade shows. I did mention a trade show a few weeks back. With Global Sources. We will be having a trip out to Hong Kong. We'll be organizing a trip to Hong Kong. I do have a few more details on that now. It needs to be finalized. I'm going to get something together so we can start to get some numbers together. The target there is to get, say, 20, 25 people together as a group to go over do some sort of sourcing over in Hong Kong and attending the trade show over there for a few days, which will be awesome. And I've done that a few times myself. Looking forward to going back again. So supplier, quickly have a look at negotiation strategies. Ordering is important. You need to understand how to order correctly. Okay, I know that sounds funny, but down to it. Relationship building, I might just skip over that because we've covered that before. Freight forwarders, obviously we're going to be focusing on freight forwarders. And this is Freightos, don't forget. So they are a great freight forwarder that we can all sort of tap into their resources and have a look at that. So which is cool. And then cargo insurance. I'll just quickly have a look at cargo insurance for us. Comes along. I might have to skip through some of these because I do want to cover some of these other areas. Customs process. Okay, and then fulfillment. We're on to fulfillment then after shipping. So on the fulfillment, we're going to be looking at overview of fulfillment options. We'll have a quick scan through there, see what the experts are saying now, and then we're going to be moving on receiving goods from Amazon shipping point of view. Okay. Now, like I said, there's 136 pages here. I suggest you go and download it and read it. It's a really, really good PDF and a really good guide. They do have they've got three guides in total. It's well worth going to have a look. But before we jump in, let's have a look at the contributors. And I'm lucky enough to know sort of some of these contributors sort of personally, and I've worked with them. So, but about this guide, let's have a look at this guide. I just want to highlight this section here. It's never been easier for an aspiring entrepreneur to sell almost anything to anyone. Now, in 2017, Toys R Us, or the ex-Toys R Us now, was still struggling to stock fidget spinners, can you believe? While the rest of the world were sourcing their own. Agile sourcing is a game changer, and here's why. Okay, there's plenty of demand. There's close to 2 billion online shoppers worldwide, 2 billion people with a credit card in their teeth ready to buy your stuff. Okay, Amazon is just one platform, a phenomenal platform, and it's just one platform that we're focused on. We are focusing on trying to build our businesses successfully, and that's been around for some time, as we know. All right, so and it says here, it's like online sellers. So basically what they're doing is like sitting there with one purpose in mind when they're going on Amazon, to buy something. Okay, they're not going there browsing around shopping, they're just doing some window shopping, potentially maybe, because eventually they will be buying something. Okay, that is the prime reason people open up the browser on Amazon, is to buy something. Okay. And if we're selling stuff on there, we've got a chance to sell some stuff and grow our business. Excellent. Right, so let's have a look at the contributors. Meet the experts, it says here. Great title. And these guys are experts in their field. Okay, Greg Mercer. We all know Greg Mercer is the CEO and founder of Jungle Scout. No introduction required there. Frederick Gronstiff is, I don't know, sorry, Frederick, I don't know whether I pronounced your name right or wrong, but Frederick so I sort of know Frederick a little bit. So it's from China in Portal, based in Hong Kong, actually based in Shanghai. And he's basically focused on helping people source, okay, and find suppliers. Plus more. Go and have a look at their website, chinainportal.com. There's great resources there. Andre is INLT co-founder, and we're going to be looking at some of his stuff. Gail, we're going to be looking at customs duty there. I don't know, Gail. Dave, we've been looking at OEM, ODM. Sorry, Dave, I'm going to be touching on your stuff. But Nathan, we're going to be looking at a suppliers chapter, so which is all good. Megan, we are going to be looking at sort of sourcing channels and trade shows. Okay, she's actually contributed to 2 sections here that we're going to be looking at, not in detail, but we're going to be covering. Gary, we know Gary from sort of 80/20 sources. Going to be looking at sort of potentially some of his stuff. So there's good information there from Gary coming in. Ash, negotiating. Yeah, we're going to be looking at some negotiating, small section there, which is really useful. Renaud, I know Renaud very well. I've been working with Renaud for a long time now. Great guy, great company. Softeast, again, we're going to be dropping a link in so you can have a look at sort of some of the resources there. And I'm going to be covering so some of the sections that Renaud has covered in ordering. We're going to be looking at Matteo, quality control. Richard, payment methods. Richard from Payoneer, obviously. Payoneer is another one of our good partners and friends. Fulfillment options with Michelle. Mark is be covering direct fulfillment chapter. Rachel on the third party. So we're going to be covering some of this fulfillment sections. Greg's a good guy. Greg is with Empire Flippers. We know the guys from Empire Flippers. We know Greg quite well. So which is good. We're going to be looking at, we're not going to be looking at what Greg wrote on drop shipping, because we're going to be focusing on the main section from Amazon. But you can download this and go through all of these. We're not going to be looking at Annalisa as well, cross and crowdfunding chapter. But we are going to be jumping in directly now. So I'm going to go and use the navigation pane just to jump in and have a look at some of these. So safety standards and labeling. Okay, so I'm just going to scan down and have a look at some of these. And I'm just going to highlight some of these sections here. I can't actually highlight because there's an image. But before you progress too much further with your potential import products, Frederick is saying, you should ensure that it complies with US safety standards and labeling. Now, I do get a number of questions with respect to this. You know, I'm importing Bluetooth headphones, and customs have stopped my shipment coming in. I don't know why. Well, did you have FCC approval? No, I didn't know I need to have it. It's important you need to understand what safety regulations you need to apply to the product you're purchasing or developing. It's your responsibility, nobody else's. You are the importer. Okay, so you need to understand what safety regulations are required for your product. And along with safety regulations goes labeling. Okay, so it's your responsibility. You must understand that. It's really important to do that. Like I said, Frederick's got a lot of sort of detailed information on the website ChinaImportal.com, so go and have a look at that. Okay, so I'm just going to scan through here. And just to pick up on this, the risks involved, and I just mentioned that with sort of Bluetooth headphones being stopped at customs, which did happen with somebody that I know. Often importers, that's us. You know, we are purchasing products from China and importing them into the US. We are the importer. Okay, even those that have been importing products for many years get a surprise when custom rejects their shipment because of a product compliance breach. In other words, it's not labeled, certified correctly to the right standard. Okay, there's no excuse. There is no excuse, and I think Frederick puts it down here nicely. Okay, there is, I can get away with it. You cannot get away with it. You cannot get away with it. Okay, the CPSC, Consumer Product Safety Council, they have the right. You recall. They have the right to recall unsafe products. Okay, they have the right to do that. And I believe that's last year, the year before, they actually recalled something. I don't know how many million cabinets that IKEA put out because they were unsafe, or they didn't have the correct labels on. Okay, someone like IKEA, a worldwide company, they were subjected to this. There is no I can get away with it. Okay, so you need to understand. You need to understand some of the common things you need to put on there. You need to put made in China if it's made in China. Apart from watches, they're exempt. Okay, you should have, and you need to have that label on there on your product somewhere, made in China. Okay, but check, it's mandatory for most products. You need to do your own homework on this. Okay, or get some expert advice. Apparel and textiles, if you're selling clothing, yeah, there's certain things that you need to be aware of, and you need to label it correctly. Okay, very, very hot topic, this one. Children's products. If it's not safe, my goodness, you're in trouble. Okay, you need to make sure that you get your products tested and certified. Absolutely. Electronics products, FCC. Okay, if it's coming into America and if it's a wireless product, a wireless charger, wireless headphones, Bluetooth speaker, whatever the case may be, it needs to have certification that complies with the FCC regulations. Full stop. That's it. Full stop. Okay. Some of the other ones here is chemicals and heavy metals, lead paint on children's products, for example. And don't forget the sort of California Prop 65, which can be a bit of a pain, but needs to be done. If you're selling kitchen appliances, the silicone spatula, for example, it needs to be FDA approved because it's going to be touching food. Okay, if it's touching food, it must be FDA approved. That's it, full stop. Don't just think you can just sell any old thing. You need to make sure that the products you're selling are regulated, okay? And it's your responsibility to understand that, okay? Expert tip, here we go. So what does it actually mean to make a product compliant? For most products, it's a lot simpler than what you think, which is good, okay? 1, technical compliance or chemical regulations. Basically, you just need to make sure that you're getting the product manufactured correctly and it will pass the regulations. Easy enough. Just submit that product to a third-party test house, i.e. a UL approved test house, okay, and they will test it. If it's okay, they will give you that certification and say your product is fine. Okay, you need to make sure you got a technical manual as well, technical list, everything that goes in it, components and everything, and your labels. Obviously, you need to put the correct labels on. Okay, so that is labeling your products and regulations. You need to. It's your responsibility, our responsibility, my responsibility when I'm bringing my stuff in. I need to make sure it is correct. No messing around. Okay. Customer's responsibilities. So we'll see what Andre says. U.S. Customs, okay, is responsibility for enforcing U.S. Customs regulations and also act on behalf of more than 20 other agencies. They collect duties, taxes, and everything in between. Your responsibility as an importer. Okay, this is some of the stuff that we need to understand. This is quite heavy and quite dry, so I'm not going to go through it all, but I just want to bring this to your attention because it is important. Okay, the importer of record. That's you, that's me, that's us. Okay, we're the importer of record. It's our responsibility to do that. Okay, we need to be on that list. Okay, so another importer of record responsibilities is that you must have a bond to cover any shipment values over 2,500. Now, in this case, you can actually use your freight forwarder as the importer of record. Okay, they will do that for you. Customs bonds are covered in more detail in customs process chapter. I'm going to go through this because it is in detail and it's quite heavy. But read it, download this report and read it. It is important. Now, I want a ton of stuff to go through, so I'm going to whiz through that. But I just want to bring up the important sections that you should be aware of. Okay, some duty. What Gail has to say here. Customs duty, okay, is our responsibility to get the HTC code correct. And this is what sort of the customs actually look at the products. Say, okay, that's got a tariff on it. And therefore, that tariff is, because it is XYZ, it is 2%, 10%, 18%, 0. Okay, some stuff that we just bought imported into the States. We had 0 and it averaged out about 5.6% over everything we bought in. Okay, that makes a difference. That makes a difference, 5.6%. Okay, if you're bringing in $50,000 worth or $100,000 worth or whatever the case may be, yeah, it does make a difference to your outgoing. Okay, make sure you're aware of it, because if you ignore this and customs get hold of it, okay, they're going to charge you, full stop. They're going to charge you. Okay, and if you haven't allocated the funds for your customs duty, you're out of business before you start. Okay. Example 1, Santa outfit containing 9 different items and codes from hats to shoe covers, has 4 different tax rates and 5 duty-free items. I like the 5 duty-free items, but you need to be aware of the 4 taxes that are rated. Okay, the tariff code isn't properly assigned. Your shipment will get held up at customs until it's sorted. Excuse me. Simple as that. You need to understand. So look at the expert tips. When you're first considering importing a product, check out the likely classification with an HS code lookup tool. You can check this out and get an estimate on customs duties with an import duty lookup tool. Okay, so you've got those there. So there's no excuse. You understand what that is. You can build that into your cost model to understand what your landed cost is. You need to work that out. Make sure you've got the cash flow to cover that. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. It's there. Okay, it needs to be done. Another expert tip. There is no one right way. This is quite a complex subject, as you know. There is no one right way to handle customs duty and import tax, and it depends on your needs and resources. But the more goods you ship and the more countries you deal with, the more complex customs duty and import tax compliance will be. Very true. However, whichever option you choose, be sure to periodically check it is still providing the right results. Yeah. So what you can do is do this on your own, work with a freight forwarder. In our case, we actually done it on our own and work with a freight forwarder. Okay. When we're bringing our products into the States. But again, we'll go through this in detail and you can look through this as you download it. Okay, so which is good. Let's jump on to the next section. I've got a few of these I really want to cover and bring to your attention. Sourcing channels. Now, I have actually brought this up a couple of times and I've done various different calls with respect to sourcing channels. The last one I've done was global sourcing. Like I mentioned, we will be having that trip out in October, so which is really exciting. But let's see what else we've got. Online sourcing marketplaces. Now, this is the obvious place to find products and suppliers, not necessarily products, but suppliers for the products that you have found. Okay, there are 3 main sourcing marketplaces in Asia, specifically for Chinese suppliers. Alibaba. I'm not going to go through Alibaba again, so I've done that how many times. Okay, but we all know of Alibaba and the products you can find there, and there are hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of suppliers listed on Alibaba. Okay, we know that. We've had a look, and most of you are aware of how that massive system works. Global sources. Global sources I touched on sort of a couple of weeks ago as the oldest sourcing marketplace. Okay, and it has a focus on verifying suppliers and curating new innovative products. They are strong in electronics products and will be launching a payments service in mid-2018. I'll ask my contact sort of during the week to see if that's up and running yet. And if it is, we can pass on some information to you. They are the only marketplace that also runs trade shows, okay, which I mentioned. We're going to be going there in October, okay? And we're going to have a look at trade shows in a second. Made in China. Now, the Made in China online marketplace is strong in machinery and hardware-related products. Now, I've used Made in China for a long time, and it's really focused on what I've found in the past is more engineering-based products and services. Okay, so the main 2 that we're looking at here is Alibaba, which everybody knows, and Global Sources. If you didn't know that, I introduced that a couple of weeks ago. Okay, but again, go and have a look at these sort of sites if you're not familiar. Okay, so the advantage of sourcing online is low cost and quick. If you're starting with a small budget, sourcing from an online marketplace is the obvious choice. Okay, there's no travel cost involved. You don't have to jump on a plane and go and see your supplier and spend a week out there and spend $2,000 getting around, plus your flight. It can be quite expensive. And if you've never done it before, you're absolutely lost in the dark. You've got no idea what the hell you're doing. Start online. Okay, start online. This is where we need to be. No need to jump on a plane and go anywhere to see a supplier unless you're going to a trade show. There are a wide variety of products and suppliers, okay, which is perfect for us as importers and sellers on Amazon. Okay, so which is good. The disadvantage, you can't really see the products. And due to the sheer number of suppliers and products online, it can be quite difficult to actually find the right supplier. But again, I've gone through how to do that and how to select the best supplier. We've gone through various different matrices on how to actually gauge the supplier and what the supplier is like and see if we can select the correct supplier. Okay. So let's jump down to next page. Attending trade shows. Let's see what Megala has to say about that. Okay, work out which trade shows you want to visit, obviously. I just get a sip of drink, hold on. So a lot of these trade shows are broken up into categories. Okay, so there's no point in going to the electronics show if you're going to be looking for sportswear and gym clothing. Okay, you're at the wrong show. You're at the wrong show. Yeah, it might be good to go to a show and have a look around, but it's no point if you're actually building a brand and building your store out with one product if you're looking in a separate sort of show with different categories. Okay, so normally they're broken down into categories. So check out, see what category you want to go into and work out that particular show. Now, Hong Kong is very easy to get to. You don't need any visas. It's a very friendly and convenient place to go. It's a great place. I've spent many years down in Hong Kong. And it's great. I love it. It's a lot of the places do speak English because it's the next England colony, so which is also very convenient, and it's really good. But on here, it's got most Asian trade shows are held in April and October. Okay, they're the two time scales that the shows are held at. In Hong Kong and Guangzhou, you can choose. They just cross the border. But if you go into China, obviously you need to sort out your visa before you land, before you take off even. So you need to make sure you got that visa if you're going into China. Hong Kong, you don't need a visa. Okay, that's one good thing about it. Okay, so attending the Hong Kong shows. Let's have a quick look. There are two session shows in Hong Kong. Global Sources Show, which also hosts a conference for global Amazon and online sellers. Okay, let me say that again. It also hosts a conference for global Amazon and online sellers, co-located with the Hong Kong Trade Show. Okay, so the Hong Kong TDC shows, you can check them out there. Okay, here are the most common reasons why some buyers prefer to visit only the Hong Kong shows. It's convenient. Like I said, traveling to Hong Kong is more convenient and less hassle than going into mainland China. One, it's a lot smaller and everything's right on your doorstep. Two, you don't need your visa, like I said here. Okay, more export experience. Okay, generally suppliers of the Hong Kong shows are more export focused. There are plenty of export-focused suppliers in Guangzhou too, but most exhibitors are smaller suppliers and trading companies in China. Okay. Higher quality products, while the Guangzhou shows are bigger, the Hong Kong shows focuses more on higher quality and more innovative products. Okay, it's an important thing to understand. English speaking, this is why we like Hong Kong. Okay, most people in Hong Kong speak English. How cool is that? Including most taxi drivers. So getting around is so much easier. Okay, and that's true. I found that so much easier getting around while in Hong Kong as opposed to mainland China while I was there, even while I was living there. Okay, so everything else is written in English as well. more so that is in China. You will find it is in China, but more so in Hong Kong. So suppliers in Hong Kong shows have English-speaking sales staff for sure. Okay, so which is good. There's going to be I'm going to be giving out more information on the October show. Like I say, I've got more information on that, and I'm going to be putting out sort of more details with respect to how to sign up, so you can come over to Hong Kong with us later in the year. But in the meantime, let's jump on to the next section. Negotiating strategies even. Okay, so we'll see what Ash is saying here. Now, clearly, all right, it's important to you understand that you can negotiate with your supplier. Okay, now, while I was in China, I've been doing business in China for many, many years, as a lot of you know. And the thing over there is they are accustomed to negotiating. Even when you go down the wet market to buy your fish or your fruit, you know, it's a case of you can actually negotiate down there. And I've been into main stores and being able to negotiate on electronics goods and stuff. Okay, we don't do that as Westerners. We very rarely negotiate. Okay, so you need to, if you're not used to it, you need to get into the mindset that it is okay to negotiate, but negotiate fairly. Okay, and be sensible about what you're actually aiming for from a negotiating point of view. Okay, so here are the 4 key negotiating components for a purchase agreement. Price, number 1, is by far the most important element. Okay, so when we're talking about negotiating, everybody just thinks price. Okay, and that's it. But no, there's other elements to that. So let's look at that. Payment terms, that's a really important one. Okay, these refer to how and when you will pay. Okay, the standard payment terms for most importers is around 30% to start with and 70% when the goods are finished. Now, I shall reiterate this. Don't pay the balance until you've had your products inspected. Okay, I've said this time and time again. Get your products inspected before you pay that final balance. Okay, that's all I'll add to this section here. Okay, just remember that. It's really, really important. But anyway, payment terms is up for negotiating. Okay, lead times. Be careful here, guys. Okay, this is an important point that most importers negotiate on and even use as a key criteria for selecting suppliers. How quick can I get my stuff? But be careful. Okay, expert tip on this point. Many exporters negotiate too hard on lead time and end up with quality problems because some steps were skipped to save time, or late delivery because an inadequate lead time was knowingly committed to start with because you negotiated too hard. Okay, and you got to remember as well that it's a very common thing in China that the Chinese do not want to lose face. So if you're negotiating, saying, where are we now? Okay, so we're in June at the moment. So okay, I've got a new product. I need that made. I need something special done to it, so it stands out in the crowd. So I'm personalizing it a little bit. I definitely want that, and I'm going to be selling it ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's going to take some time. You know what? It's like really, really push. You've got to get products to me, you know, in 40 days. That's it. You got to get the products to me in 40 days. Otherwise, I'm going to miss it because by the time the products are shipped from China into America, and by the time everything's up and running, you know, I'm going to miss the deadline. So you must do that. Okay. And the guys are going to say, well, you know, okay, because I want the business. All right, we'll do it. Okay. Because they're telling you what you want to hear because they don't want to lose face. Okay. Don't negotiate too hard. Negotiate correctly. Be honest with each other, as in you be honest with your supplier and get your supplier to be honest with you. If you can't make that deadline, tell me so I can adjust what I'm planning. If I can't hit Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I'm going to do the Christmas launch, for example. You need to plan accordingly. Don't try and squeeze everything in because you've got a deadline that can't move, i.e. Black Friday, Cyber Monday. That doesn't move because you can't make it. Okay. But what you don't want to be doing is negotiating too hard such that you've got quality problems, because once you launch that product with quality problems, game over. Okay. So be careful when you're negotiating. Okay, and contract terms is the fourth section when you're negotiating. It's important to think these through and have clauses on inspection standards. Okay, lead times, penalties for delays, if you want to put those in there, and clearly define dispute resolution mechanisms. If there's something wrong, how do you resolve it? In other words, also look at the freight terms when you're looking at your contract terms. All of these things are up for negotiating, and you need to make sure that you're negotiating fairly, such that it's a win-win situation. Okay, so have a read through the rest of that. It's great information in there on negotiating. It's really useful. Let's see what we got next. Ordering from Renewed. Okay, so we've already had a look at sort of some of the other payment deposits, approvals, agree the terms. So let's have a look, see what Renew's saying on ordering. So you need to make sure you get a sample, obviously. Yeah, don't just go out there and go through Alibaba and say, oh, yeah, I found my blue widget. That blue widget is perfect. I'm going to order 1,000 of those to get them in there to test out the product, and everything's going to be fine. Okay. Place the order, and away you go, and it all goes wrong. You think, that's not exactly what I looked for. I thought it was a real size chair, but it's actually a doll's chair. Oh, my goodness. What am I going to do now? You know, get a sample from your supplier. Really, really important. Get a sample from your supplier. That way you can check the function, what it looks like, the performance, the fitness of the product. Okay. And you can actually confirm all of those or make suggestions to the supplier on how you want to improve it or change it. Okay, as private label sellers, we are often looking for slight modifications that we can do to a product, that we can make it better, because we've been analyzing our suppliers. I mean our competitors. Sorry, we've been analyzing our competitors. We've been looking at the 1-star and 2-star reviews. On the 1-star and 2-star reviews, it's not strong enough. It's too hard. It's too soft. It's whatever. Okay. Talk to our suppliers and say, okay, I've got the sample now. That's great. But can we make it red and not blue in this section? Can we make that softer? Can we make that harder? Can we make that stronger? Et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And that is the time when you can actually start talking to the supplier, because you've got the sample in your hand. Okay. Once they've done the work, get another sample, because you need that sample that is going to be a pre-production or production intent product. Okay, really, really important to do that. Okay, once you have that, okay, Renu's saying down here, and it's really, really important to understand this, all of this extra information that you've been talking to them about should go into your specification sheet. Okay, you need to write it down. You need to make sure that you've written everything down with respect to what your product is, what it's like, what it performs like. Okay, you need to make sure that that is written down in a document somewhere. Okay, that way you're not guessing, or, oh, you know, that third sample you sent through, I need it to look like that, but perform like the fourth sample. No, you can't do that. You need to make sure you've written everything down in a specification sheet. Okay, really important. So, expert tip. Don't be persuaded by any assurance that there will be little risk of delay or quality issues. As the buyer, you are the one taking on the most of the financial risk. Okay, if it's wrong, if they send it over, game over. Remember that. Okay. Again, another important point here. At some point, make sure you check the packaging as well. Check your packaging. And not just the packaging the product's in, but the cartons the products are going to be shipped in. Okay. We had some products shipped over a few weeks back, and some of the outer cartons were crushed. Luckily, the components inside were all metal, and they didn't get damaged at all. But can you imagine if they were some brittle or some fragile products, or some sensitive components or electronic components or something like this? Yeah, would have been in trouble. Because the outer carton wasn't correct, wasn't sturdy enough. Okay. So once you've reviewed all the samples, make a final call based on quality and final quotes. Okay. So this can be from a number of different suppliers, obviously. Okay. Which we've talked about in the past. The sample for the supplier you select is the approval sample. Sign that off. Okay. Make sure you sign it off. This is the one. This is the golden sample. Okay. Reynolds even said that down here. It's often called the golden sample. Okay. But again, another important point here. Do not burn your relationship with the other shortlisted suppliers. Don't forget, we've got a matrix that you can use when you're looking at different suppliers, that you can rate each of the elements that you put down there: delivery, negotiating price, delivery times, responsiveness. You've got that 4 or 5 different suppliers on your shortlist. Don't tell them no thanks. You say, we'll come back to you, because something may go wrong and you may have to go down to supplier number 2, supplier number 3. Okay? Don't burn your bridges. Negotiating low minimum order quantity. This is important for us as sort of private label sellers just starting out on a brand new product. You need to test that product first. Okay? There's no point in putting 1,000 products into Amazon and it bombs. What are you going to do? You've got 1,000, but you've probably got 900 items. If you manage to give a few away, you've done some promos, it's just not selling. So you're stuck with 900 items. What the hell are you going to do? It's not easy. You need to liquidate that, break even, potentially lose a bit of money. Okay. You can certainly get rid of products. That's no problems, but just at what cost? Don't make that mistake with respect to, okay, Mr. Supplier, your MOQ is 500. Your MOQ is 1,000 for this silicon spatula. That's fine. No problems. I'm sure I can sell it. Try and negotiate down. Don't forget, we need to put that test order in first. Make sure that the product is selling and it's just got stable sales, so we can ramp it up and scale it. Okay, you can then start to negotiate quantities and better pricing with larger orders. Okay, but here's the expert tip. If you are more concerned about reducing risk by reducing order size than price, then make that negotiating strategy. Okay. When you're doing some negotiating, you need to be smart about it. Like I said, do fair and smart negotiating, not just focus on price or MOQ or delivery times. Think of the overall package and how you're doing this. Okay. I'm just going to skip through. Agree to the terms. Okay, we talked about terms here. Make sure that you get written responses, if possible, from a manager at your supplier as you reach agreements on each of the following items: size of the order, okay, unit price of product, and the price of tooling, if any. Okay, not everybody's going to have some tooling involved in their products, but if you do, you need to make sure you're doing that. Payment terms. Again, we'll just go over payment terms: 30%, 70%. And again, don't pay that final percentage until you've had your products inspected. Okay. Quality criteria. This is something that we haven't really touched too much on in the past, but I can do in the future. I can do a whole call on this one. It's quite in depth. But if you need to know about it and want to know about it, that's fine. Just reach out and we can go through that. But it's talking about acceptable quality level, AQL, acceptable quality level, 2.5%. Okay, I'll just leave it there. All right. Shipping terms, FOB, X works. We've covered those before. Okay. So make sure you're looking through this. There's another important point here. Look, purchase order. On your purchase order, you need to make sure that you've written everything down on your purchase order. Don't just say, "Yeah, I'll have 500 blue widgets." That's it. You need to write everything down on the purchase order because that is a legal document. That's a legal requirement for them to follow what you're actually ordering. Okay. And again, more information available inside here as well as on the Southeast and their blog site. There's a ton of useful information on there. Invaluable. Okay. So complete and send a purchase order. If you don't have a purchase order, don't know where to start, you can download one from the site. There's a sample template there. Okay, so if you don't have one. Okay. So Renaud can walk you through this as well within some of the information. Many small importers or buyers don't issue purchase orders. They simply sign the supplier's pro forma invoice. Wrong. Don't do it, guys. Make sure you're getting that purchase order with details written down to send that in. Okay. At very least, you should arrange a purchase order. In China, any type of written business agreement is only binding the parties if they legally responsible signs and then chops it. Make sure you send that purchase order in. You're going to sign it, obviously. Make sure they send it back with a red stamp on it. Okay, that is more legally binding than someone's signature. Okay, it's got to have the chop on it. All right, so I'll just leave that there. I'm just going to whiz through to the next part. I'm just going to jump now because we're running out of time. 73 freight forwarders. Talk that on for a bit. As you can see, this is a very, very comprehensive guide. We're on 73 of 136, and there's a ton of information in here. Okay. Freight forwarders come in all shapes and sizes. Okay. Some smaller freight forwarders are essentially domestic trucking companies or trucking brokers with little or no involvement in international freight. So if you're getting stuff sent from China to America, don't get involved in a small freight forwarder. It's going to go wrong. It is going to go wrong. Okay. Make sure you pick the right freight forwarder. Okay. Here's a guide to what freight forwarders can do for you, do for us as importers. Provide expert guidance and explain exactly what needs to be done and what documents need to be provided. Okay. Really important. Make sure that all of the paperwork is correct and in place. Act on your behalf. It's an important one. Act on your behalf. Okay. I've got no idea what the ins and outs are of shipping products from China to America or Europe, even though I've done it for many, many years. Okay. I get the freight forwarders to do it for me because they're the experts. They act on my behalf. Okay. Act on my behalf. Do that. You're not the expert. Okay. They're good at troubleshooting if something goes wrong because they know the mechanism. They know the ins and outs of how to get stuff through customs. Okay. If it's stuck at the port, they know why it's stuck at the port and they can resolve that problem. Okay. Make sure you're working with a freight forwarder. Okay. Freight forwarders and customs brokers. If you don't have a customs broker already, you won't necessarily need to arrange a separate one, as most international freight forwarders can handle this for you. Okay, which is exactly why I use freight forwarders for virtually everything I do. Okay, seamless. It's seamless. You tell them what you want, they deliver it. Okay, do it yourself. I don't recommend it. Okay, freight forwarder. I recommend it. Simple as that. Okay, I don't recommend doing it yourself. I recommend using a freight forwarder. Okay, don't forget this is put together by Freightos, a freight forwarder. A good place to start. Okay, let's jump on to the next section because we've still got quite a bit of doing. No time to do it. process. Again, we're touching on some deep, heavy stuff here, guys, but this is stuff that I haven't really covered before, and I just want to bring to your attention because it's important. Okay, it's really important. Okay, customs agency responsibility. Several documents need to be lodged or filed with customs before your shipment arrives at the port. Okay, really important to understand that. Customs also requires an early, which is called an ISF filing for ocean freight only. So if it's coming by air, there's something different. If it's coming by ocean, it's a whole different ball game. And that must be completed 24 hours before the ship leaves the port of origin. Okay, I do know somebody personally. They used a freight forwarder, and this didn't happen. Completed 24 hours before the ship leaves the happened. All of his first product he chose, going to be sent into FBA, arrived at a port in the US, destroyed the whole lot. Very unfortunate set of circumstances. Make sure you get everything in place. Make sure that you're using the correct freight forwarder. Okay. And I do suggest you use a freight forwarder based in the country that you're importing to. In other words, someone that's based in America. Okay. Clearance. Unless there's a problem. Ocean freight is generally cleared within 2 days of shipment landing in the port, but it can be 4 days or whatever. Yeah. Air freight is generally cleared within 1 or 2 days of arrival. Air freight is a lot quicker, obviously. Okay. Here's how customs officials will process your shipment. Inspect the paperwork. Your paperwork is really important. You need to have the paperwork in place. Use your freight forwarder. They will tell you what needs to be done. You need to arrange some of that and get some of that from your supplier. Okay. Determine if duties apply. Don't forget, we talked about that to start with. Make sure you've factored that into your cost model. Request duty payment. If they request it, you need to pay it. Otherwise, you ain't getting your stuff. Following confirmation of payment, release, and shipment for pickup. Okay, simple, really. It's simple if you know what you're doing, which is why I recommend and highly recommend the route to use a freight forwarder. Okay, so when customs get hold of your stuff, when they do a random search, mandatory search. So these are some of the things they'll be looking at. The shipment contains food, drugs, or animal goods, okay, that you're not allowed to bring in sometimes. You need to check what you're allowed to bring in, what you're not allowed to bring in. The shipment contains anything that might be construed as a threat to the national health, safety, and security. Again, if you're not sure, just double check. Don't buy stuff that you think, yeah, I'll probably outsell that. Okay, check. Make sure you can actually bring it into the country and sell it. Okay, I'll just move on from now. All right, so basically what you need to do is just factor in these charges. Make sure that you've covered all of the aspects with respect to cost of getting goods from A to B, not just the price in China. It doesn't stop there. Okay, it doesn't stop there. Make sure you've got a full understanding of all of the pricing, including duty and taxes, getting products into the country. Okay, simple as that. Right, a couple more sections. I think we're going to do it. Okay, overview of fulfillment options. Direct fulfillment, also known as self-fulfillment, or what we term as FBM, fulfillment by merchant. Okay, in other words, you're bringing stuff over, and you are storing it, and you are responsible for shipping it. So if you're an FBM supplier, yeah, you're potentially bringing stuff over from China. You're storing it in your own warehouse, stroke garage, stroke basement. You're putting it up onto Amazon, and you get a sale, and you are responsible for then sending that to the buyer. Okay, that is self-fulfillment or direct fulfillment. Third-party fulfillment. This is what most of us are understanding. FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. Amazon being that third-party logistics company that we're talking about. Also, a fantastic sales platform. Okay, drop shipping, and this is where Greg wrote a lot about from the Empire Flippers. But you can take time to go through that. But drop shipping is basically you're working directly with a supplier to distribute a product one at a time. So if you've got a Shopify store, for example, and you're selling, I don't know, baby walkers, you make a sale, okay? You get the money for that sale. You then place the order with the supplier. You tell the supplier where to send it, and the supplier sends it directly to your customer, and you keep the difference from a financial point of view. Okay, because you're obviously selling it more than what it costs you. Business sense. That's drop shipping. Okay. So that's a quick overview: direct fulfillment, third-party logistics, cross-docking, and drop shipping. Okay, what that looks like. So I'm just going to go on to one more section down here. You know about FBA. The whole section down here about the whole FBA thing. Okay, shipping and receiving requirements. Again, important to understand what you need to put on your products in order to get that into Amazon itself. Okay, so here's a list of requirements for inventory arriving from overseas that will not serve as an importer of a record. Okay, don't forget we talked about the importer of record is either you or your freight forwarder. They can act on your behalf if you're not there. I'm not there. I'm based in the Philippines, so therefore I cannot be the importer of record because you need to be in the country you're importing to. So therefore I always use my freight forwarder as my importer of records. Amazon will not stand as the importer of records for any of your products coming in. Okay, don't do that. Your customs broker must contact Amazon before shipping to get the EIN or tax ID number required for customs clearance. Okay, they do not accept delivery with duties, taxes, or other charges owing. Okay, so if you have done that and it turns up at Amazon, it'll get turned away. You need to make sure everything is clean and clear before it arrives at the fulfillment center. Okay. Non-US based businesses have additional requirements. You can click there for what those are. Palletizing. It talks about palletizing. Tips when it comes to this. When it comes to shipping, it is always circumstantial, but we try to get as much done in China as possible. In other words, labeling. Get your products labeled in China. There's no point in sending the products in and spending that extra money getting Amazon to label everything up, including pallets. Okay, so if you're ordering pallet loads of stuff, get your products palletized by your supplier, but make sure it complies with Amazon's requirements. Okay, check on Amazon to make sure what those requirements are. Don't just send them in. You're not allowed to have any products overhanging the pallet at all. Okay, make sure that is right. You trouble if each carton weighs more than 50 pounds, make sure it's under 50 pounds. If it's 51, don't just write 50. Talk to your supplier. It needs to be under 50. Okay, you will get into trouble. You'll get into trouble if your products are going in there in boxes, in cartons that weigh more than 50 pounds. Okay, make sure you get it right. Labeling. When you're doing your shipping plans, there's various different places there you can actually print out labels. You're not going to print them out yourselves. You're going to send those PDFs over to your supplier and get your supplier to actually apply them to the boxes or the actual units themselves. Okay. Make sure you're getting the barcodes correct. Make sure you're getting your GS1 codes printed off with your UPC. UPC is to your unique product, make sure you get your supplier to add that to your product itself. Okay, it's easy. Just get it done. Okay, so there's a ton of information here, guys. It's just crazy amount of really good stuff. Okay, it just goes into Europe as well. Okay, I'm just going to whiz down to the bottom because it talks about Freightos. Okay, I'm just going to talk about this a little bit because it is a Freightos product. And we're very grateful they put this together with all of the team of experts they've called upon to get this information together. And like I say, I will be dropping the link in so you can find this nice and easily, so you can download it yourself. You can actually sign up for their newsletters and stuff like that. But I'll drop the link in so everybody's got a copy of that. Okay. Now, Freightos have been around for some time, and world's online marketplace for $1 trillion international shipping industries. They work with them frictionlessly. Okay. Shipping that is smooth as booking a flight online. That's what we want. Effortless shipping. Okay. Freighters have accumulated the world's largest global database of multimodal freight rates. Okay. These guys know what they're talking about. Give them a look. Okay. If you're going to get some products shipped from China, give Freightos a look and see what they're all about. Okay. So this is just one of 3 guys. This is the FBA, Amazon FBA orientated one, but you can see how much information is in it. I've just skipped, I've very quickly skipped over a number of different sections here, guys. Like I say, all of these sections in here, and you can see all of the sort of team of experts they've pulled together to get this information together for us. Like I said, I'll drop the link in. Make sure you go in there, download it. It's all for free, but give Freightos a look if you're getting products in. And some of the other, let me just go down here for a second. Okay. Check out some of these, particularly China Importal. Go onto their site, have a look. You know, these guys have got a ton of information on there. Also, come down here and have a look at sort of Sofeast. And Sofeast have got a blog site, qualityinspection.org. And again, I'll drop the links in there so you can have a look at it. An absolute gold mine of information, guys. Gold mine of information with respect to getting stuff made in China and inspection and stuff like this. Okay. So hopefully it was a very quick overview, very like top level, just scrape the surface of some really useful information. Download this guide, take your time to go through it, because you will have a better understanding of how to source and get products from China safely. All right, team, if you've got any questions, just drop them into the chat. I'm available for a while, so I'll hang around. Otherwise, you know how to reach me. Just go into the Facebook group, the private Facebook group, or you can reach out to me via email or Skype or any other methods that you know of. In the meantime, happy sourcing from China. And look out for the information coming that we've got soon for the trade show in Hong Kong if you're interested in that. All right, team, that's all I've got. You take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.